Hello and welcome to Riptide TV. I'm your host, Michael Saunders, and
I'm Dave Heaviside, publisher of Riptide magazine.
Purpose of this is basically to run through some of the big stories in bodyboarding for the week, as well as maybe give a little bit of extra info that we know about it, and as well as answer questions that people have about these stories. So feel free to comment during the show, and a question that might not be answered in the story, we'll see if we can do our best to answer it for you. We're going to start things off though today with probably the biggest start to the season was in Hawaii. A lot of people think it was one of the best Hawaiian seasons in a long time. Not only because of just the epic swells because of El Nino, but the fact that it was a pipe comp after taking a year break, and a lot of people showed up for that comp, including all the Aussies. Dave?
Yeah, so I literally just lost my running sheet. How good is first episode going? Yeah, so after basically last year where there was no Aussies that went over, by a handful of guys who made the journey, this year was pretty much stacked, wasn't it? So whether it's pretty obvious that having the comp had a lot to do with it. Guys got wind that the comp was going to be back on, and so they thought, get over there. What's better than surfing pipe with 4 other guys in the comp? So that obviously made a difference. But Mike, you were actually over there,
yes,
and sort of in amongst the thick of things. So what was it like actually being over there with all the Aussies, and how was the vibe this year?
Well, this is the first time I'd actually been to Hawaii, so I can't really compare it to other years in terms of being there. But from what when I was speaking to people there, everyone was psyched just to see the Aussies turn up. Like the big names like Ben Player, Dave Winchester, Ryan Hardy, and then some of the young up-and-comers like Davis Blackwell, George Humphreys, Sean Pine from Cronulla, Ryan Sewell from the South Coast. All those guys were just came over and just tearing it up, really. They were basically the center of attention during amongst all the bodyboarders. They had the house, they had the hangout, and it was good. It was good times. It was good to see that all the Aussies getting amongst it.
So talking about the Aussie house, can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, did you stay there yourself, or?
I didn't stay there myself. I visited it quite a bit. They were set up right on Rocky Point, which is just a little bit, actually I'm really bad with my directions, but it was down the road basically from Pipeline. Right there was the old Reef House, I believe. So Reef, the brand, used to put their surfers there. Since then they've kind of rented out every winter season, and all the Aussies kind of got together, put their money together, and splashed out for that place. It ended up becoming like a bit of a meeting joint for like a lot of bodyboarders. Everyone would kind of stop and check out Rocky Point to see if there's some waves happening, and then they'd stop by the Aussie house to see what's going on in there. So it was a cool vibe going on there, and it was good to see like everyone hanging out.
So how's the vibes? We'll get to the comp in a second, but a lot of what people don't sort of get to see is some of the behind the scenes stuff, and what the guys do during the lay days and in the off days. There was a couple of clips you put up of Winnie and Hardy playing tennis. Obviously Louis doing yoga, that sort of thing. Were there any other things that you sort of witnessed that would be pretty cool?
It was just cool, I guess, to just to see everyone kind of cruising around. I mean, if you're on the North Shore during that winter season, it was just like you couldn't walk 100 meters without seeing someone that you recognize, whether that be a pro surfer or a pro bodyboarder, or just a legend of the scene. It was super cool for me just to kind of be cruising around there and seeing the likes of seeing Ben Player and stuff down at down the food carts, seeing GT doing the lifeguard work at the tower at Pipeline. Tanner McDaniel, he was staying at a friends of family's place, kind of down the road from Pipe, and he was just kind of cruising on his bike 24/7, just being the typical Grommy.
Yeah.
And he was always, every time I was driving down that Kamehameha Highway, I would usually see Tanner McDaniel kind of riding the bike around the place.
Yeah, cool. Well, we might as well move it along. We'll get to the comp. So the comp itself, 2 absolutely pumping days. You know, you mentioned some of the riders before, but you know, who were some of the, you know, besides obviously the guys who got to the final, you know, there were some guys over there like Garth McGregor and you know, who hadn't been for a long time, you know, repping Oz. And can you tell us some of the standout riders over those 2 days?
Yeah, well, just on Garth, he was phenomenal. Like, it was so awesome to watch Garth out there. He seemed to have a knack for finding the biggest waves and the biggest barrels of each day. Even, you know, he was finding the bombs, and he was just cruising through the barrel, like making some big ones. And I guess in his little camp, he had Christian Rissol Rigaccini from Cronulla, the Skid Kid legend, and he did awesome as well. He made it through to the round 4, just short of the quarterfinals, but super impressive as well. Managed to snag a few good backdoor barrels, I remember, on the first day. In terms of other standouts, I think another kid that actually is kind of rising up through the ranks, he actually won the Pro Junior in Puerto Rico, and that's excuse me if my pronunciation is wrong, but Abner Diaz or Arce, and he's from Puerto Rico, and he kind of came over for the pipe comp, and I just remember watching him in the first day. I was sitting next to Alex Leon from the APB, and he said, "Look out for this kid. He's a shredder." And you know, next thing, he's out in that heat. He had an epic heat. I think it was with it was also with Tanner McDaniel, I think, in that heat. I'm not entirely sure. But he ended up finding a couple awesome, like, long pipe barrels as well as a backdoor barrel. And he'll be someone to look out for in the future, whether that be on the Pro Tour or even, you know, the Men's World Tour.
Yeah, awesome. And obviously you can't talk about Hawaii without talking about Hawaiians. There's a couple of local guys that sort of really caught the eye, especially some of the younger guys. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, definitely. I think that Sammy Morantino, you know, he lives up to the hype. He shreds on everything. You know, he was out there drop kneeing. Fortunately, he made the drop knee final, obviously, but he kind of came, you know, lost to Dave Hubbard in the end there. In the stand-up final, went against Jamie O'Brien and a couple others, and he won that. The first ever person to actually win a stand-up bodyboard comp at Pipe.
Wow.
And just even in the prone heats, in the earlier rounds, it was in the highlight clips, both on the Riptide Facebook highlight clips as well as the end of the post-event highlight clips. He did that big backdoor invert. It was a massive chunky section.
Yeah.
He didn't quite land it. He only got scored at 3.33. A bit of a debate over that, because I personally think that it was probably worth a bit more. It was a big punt in my opinion. But the kid shreds, and I think that I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Awesome. All right, so moving on, I guess, to the final day of Pipe. You know, take us through those last couple of rounds and how the final day panned out.
Yeah, well, it was pretty obvious. I mean, the whole time, every time you watched Pierre get in the water, he was phenomenal. He was just focused on getting to that final, and he definitely saved his best to last, in my opinion. As well as other standouts, I mean, Lachlan Cramsey from Australia, I reckon he was doing epic. You know, I think he got through to the semi-final before finally getting pipped. Louis, as always, is super solid. Jared Houston, again, like, he's on his day. Well, he's the world champion, and he was just going off as well. And Jacob Romero, a bit of a surprise. One of our picks in the Riptide form guide by Danny Bycroft. He called Jacob Romero. I guess there was a lot of people were probably questioning that call, but Romero was amazing. Like, when he gets a backdoor, good wave at backdoor, he's unstoppable. Yeah.
So, PLC obviously took it out. In my mind, he's probably surfing, as good as he's ever surfed. Do you think is he the best in the world right now? Has he taken that over from his teammate Jared Houston, or is Jerry and Louis, and in particular Amore Verne, who pushed everyone to the limit? Where do they all sit, you think?
Look, in my opinion, I think that PLC right now is the best bodyboarder in the world. I guess that's a debatable topic, and I'd like to see people's comments and see what they think, who they think is the best in the world, and whether they think PLC is the best in the world. Watching that final and him out there, and he was, you know, with the likes of Jacob Romero, Louis Finnegan, and current world champion Jared Houston, PLC just took it to another level. He was just shredding. Like, he charged he did a big backflip on like a critical section of pipe. And there, a section where most people would, you know, be looking just to get out of the barrel, or even, you know, maybe do a roll or something, and he just did this big flip, projected flip above the lip. It was super impressive.
Cool.
And then that air reverse a little bit after that, just massive height. And to do that in the comp is, you know, it's, you know, a lot of people can do that in free surfing, you know, and people can do that even bigger, but to do it in a pipe comp in a final and go that big, that's something that's, you know, that's the next level of bodyboarding, in my opinion.
So we saw, you know, a lot of that action we saw through the highlight clips that you were doing while you were there, you know, just putting them together and just uploading them straight to Facebook as we went. You know, part of the reason for the viewers why we did that was because we got word pretty early that there wasn't going to be a webcast, and you know, through what, you know, there's obviously the money thing issue, why they couldn't put it on, but you know, it's hard being back in Australia to really know what's going on the ground, and you know, there was a lot of talk on social media and a lot of talk about, you know, the reasons that they weren't putting on a webcast. You were there, and what was the feeling on the ground, you know, as the comp was going, and how it was all unfolding around the webcast particularly?
Yeah, well, I remember when I first landed there in Hawaii, and speaking to some of the riders, a lot were very disappointed about it. You know, some were even questioning why they actually even came to Pipeline if there was no webcast. And that was, you know, it was pretty crazy, the backlash that was happening over it. There was a lot of last minute efforts before the comp started to try and get some sort of webcast happening, but in the end, I think Mike made a good call in the fact that he didn't want to see a real, you know, low quality, dodgy webcast. He'd rather invest the money in somewhere elsewhere, like the highlight clips at the end of the day, which are pretty phenomenal if you haven't seen them. So yeah, it was, you know, it's debatable subject, and you know, a lot of people have a different opinion on it. I think was the right call made not to have a webcast? Again, I wouldn't even know, to be perfectly honest. I think after it, I think it would have been, you know, I would have loved to see a webcast. I think a lot of people, especially here in Australia, would have just, you know, killed to actually see those waves go down live. So, you know, that would have been amazing. I just think that when I was talking to Mike Stewart about it, he kind of, you know, he was a bit umming about the fact that it'd be a low quality webcast. You know, it could cut out any time, you know, it could be pixelated, you can't even see the waves. It could be a lot of things wrong with it, as well as the commentary and things like that. And, you know, in the end, if you're not really getting anything out of the webcast, what's the point of having it? Yeah. So, again, it's, you know, it's open to opinion. Leave a comment what you think, whether there should be a webcast or not. We'd like to hear what you think. Yeah, exactly. Comments are there, guys, so feel free to comment away. We won't reply to all of them, but yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. I guess sort of moving forward now, you know, PLC's got the lead in the World Tour, and we move on to, you know, Chopu, which is back on the tour for the first time in, I think, 15 years? 13 years. 13 years? Yeah. So I need to scroll up on my history a little bit. Thanks, editor. So yeah, back on the tour for the first time in 13 years, and looks like it's going to run, and looks like this time it's going to have a webcast according to the guys at the APB. So thoughts on Tahiti? Super excited. I think it's, you know, it was integral for bodyboarding to get Chopu back on the World Tour. I remember back in 2003, I believe, that Damien King won it, the Human Chopu Challenge, and that was such an amazing event. That's a comp that I still remember just from, you know, looking up on the internet, finding results. There was no webcast back then either. Reading Riptide when they had a full-on feature on the event, and that photo of Damien King, you know, throwing up the peace sign, thinking that he wasn't going to make it in that battle, and then, you know, coming out. Yeah. It was amazing, and I hope something like that happens this time around. Yeah. I think I think the APB, like, I think what Alex Leon and Tom Wilson, who are involved in the APB this year, what they're doing to try and to get that comp back, I think that's a massive effort. Despite the fact it might only be a 3-star event and it might only be $15,000. A lot of the time the riders don't care too much about the money. It's always good to have more money involved, but if you can build the sport and bring it to big waves like Chopu, it's the money doesn't matter.
Exactly. And your early calls for Chopu, who do you think is going to go the distance there?
I think I'll be looking towards actually some of the older guys that have a lot of experience at Chopu. But who knows? If it's big Chopu and it's big barrel riding, I'll be looking to the likes of Ben Player. If Mike Stewart gets a wild card, who knows
who's
where
better at barrel riding than Mike? So.
Yeah. But if it's a little bit smaller and people are doing airs out of the end ball, it's a bit of an open race. It could just be whoever has the best air game at the end there. I think also the Tahitians will be pretty surprising.
Cannot rule out the Tahitians in their home wave, so it'll be very interesting to see. And we'll have more details on the comp and on the webcast on Riptide very soon, so stay tuned for that. And as you just touched on earlier, back in 2003 was the last Chopu comp, and it was iconic, and iconic comps that are about to kick off again. Shark Island Challenge.
Yes.
2001 was incredible, and all the years since have been amazing. And we've got a green light. Well, we've got an amber light, I should say, for the. It could go next week. Yeah,
it could go next week. We just put the story on the website today. Basically, they're looking at a building easterly groundswell about to get up to 6 foot, could even get up to 9 foot or so by midday.
That's going to be solid. And how are the tides looking? Because in past years, the tides have been a little sketchy.
Yeah. So from what I saw, the tide's going to be early high tide, probably not too early, like mid-morning, about late 9, 10 o'clock high tide, and then kind of goes, obviously that's going to be about 1.5 meters, and then kind of drop throughout the day. So it could be the final rounds, or like the last part of the day, it could be in pretty shallow water.
Could be very exciting. So again, stay tuned for that. We are waiting on confirmation of a webcast, but we'll bring more news to you as that unfolds. Obviously, that's only just come to hand today, so there's a scoop for you guys who haven't heard about it.
Can I just add that we're also going to wait on getting the actual, the heat sheets and who's involved in this comp.
Of course, yeah.
They couldn't hold the comp last year, obviously. There was not enough, ideal swell as well as with the tides. They had quite a big list of riders that were going to come for last year. The likes of Mike Stewart and Tanner and Jacob Romero. Quite an international flavour. I'm not too sure if they're going to get it this time around. If they're at such short notice, next week. But who knows what could happen? Who's in Australia?
It's Shark Island. Anything could happen. I think there's a certain Tahitian floating around Australia at the moment that could well give the guys a run for their money out at Shark Island. So keep your eye out. All right, moving on. We've got a little bit of a story going on at the moment. I'm going to move our slider because we're heading over here. I think that's far enough. We'll soon find out.
Yep.
Is it? No, we need to go a bit more.
A little bit more.
There we go. This has been a story that's been unfolding for the last couple of weeks. We've had a guy who's been covering it for us, David Castle, who's done an amazing job, and you should read his report on Riptide, mag.com.au. The Maldives is in an interesting situation with development from the local government, and it possibly interfering or actually ruining one of the major surf breaks there. Do you just want to tell us a bit more about that?
Story, Michael? Yeah. Basically, it's been an ongoing issue. I first heard about it actually when I was over in Hawaii during the pipe comp, but it's obviously been going on a bit longer before that. But basically, developers are about to build a bridge connecting, I believe, 2 parts of the Maldives, and it's a lot of people are for this bridge. Even the surfers are for this bridge. It's going to, boost the tourism and boost the economy there. But the problem is they had 3 locations to put it, and they decided to put it smack bang in where 3 of their best breaks are.
So they pretty much just picked the worst option out of the
worst
3.
spot. And now, surfers and the developers and the government are kind of clashing. The guys at the Maldives Bodyboarding Association, guys like Ali, excuse me again, my pronunciation is wrong, Kushwaron, Ali Javed, and Teddy, all getting involved. They're holding a lot of protests, and just recently we actually reported that they were arrested for surfing.
Now that's pretty heavy. Like, you don't expect to paddle out at your local break and get arrested, and these guys actually spent time in jail. So it's a pretty serious situation. For anyone who's watching who can help out with these guys, just raise awareness. Hopefully that we can raise enough awareness that we get the government over there to possibly rethink the choices that they made with this bridge, and really just work with the local community, because bodyboarding is up and coming in the Maldives. There's been talk of having an APB Tour event there. They're a super passionate bunch of guys. They message us relentlessly with stuff. We try and help out as much as we can, and we want to see bodyboarding thrive and surfing thrive there. So we just want to really highlight that little battle that those guys are going through, and our thoughts are with you guys over there, and keep fighting the good fight. So
can I just add, if you do want to throw your support, go to Save Our Waves, I believe it's called. They've got a website on the Facebook page, and see how you can help. Maybe if even it's just sending an email to the Maldives government about your thoughts on this, because I don't know if they've really thought it through. Last time I did a little bit of research on it, tourism makes up like 50% of the entire economy of the Maldives, and that's based off, a lot of it is based off surfing, as well as just the reef in general for snorkeling and things like that. So just to build a bridge and destroy it, it's going to have like massive effects, on their government, on their economy, and as well as surfing. Like, it looks like a beautiful place to surf.
Yeah, I definitely want to go there. So it'd be a shame to have that ruined. So all the best, guys.
Yeah, definitely.
What's next on the old list? I can't even see it's in front of us, so we're gonna have to just slide across.
I believe it's clip of the week.
Clip of the week. All right, this is cool. So obviously, we get sent a ton of bodyboarding clips every week, and it is we do our best to watch them all. We can't. Sorry, guys, but we have picked a few of our absolute favourites of the week. We will have links to these on our website. You can see them all there. We'll do a little wrap up of this and add the links afterwards. So keep an eye on riptidemag.com.au for the ones we talk about. But Michael, your favourite clips of the last couple of weeks?
Definitely think for this week, and this is pretty hands down, is Antonio Cardoso's
That thing is ridiculous.
Volta. He just tearing up his hometown Nazaré, and it is nuts. He's just, no wonder why he wears a helmet.
Yeah.
Really. He's just hitting every section he can. There's that invert at the start where he just, most people would run away and hide from that section.
I wouldn't be hitting that, that's for sure. No way. That thing's amazing.
Yeah. I think that, I think it just kind of shows that Antonio is he's serious this year.
Yeah.
And he's going to be on the world tour. He's going to be another guy actually to look out for. It actually also kind of makes me think that maybe I should get a helmet when I surf, because it's just got to give you that little bit of extra confidence, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, there's Graham Moth Milk.
Yeah.
And Silver Bullet.
The Silver Bullet goes hard.
Silver Bullet goes hard. So
yeah. I think there's something in there.
There's something in it. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the old Gaths will make a comeback. Who knows?
Maybe we'll see a few more at Chopu.
Maybe even Shark Island. The old helmet out of Shark Island. Well, that's a pumping clip, so watch that one, Antonio Cardoso.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth your time. At the start, it's a bit funny, it's kind of got the sponsor plugs, and then it's kind of got him, bit of arty stuff. It almost feels
typical Euro clip. If you see, we watch that many clips, and we love the Euro ones that come in because we know that they're going to be lengthy intros, and then the action hits you like a minute and a half in.
Yeah.
So they're always classics, but we know the action's always going to be good, so we're quite happy to sit through the minute and a half of sponsor logos and all the rest of it.
I kind of thought it was like a jeans commercial or something, or like a Jack Daniels commercial.
But keep pumping them out, boys, because they're amazing. Next clip of the week.
Want to see more of Cardoso. Well, since we haven't done this for a couple of weeks, I'm just going to, say that not last week or the week before, Todd Barnes putting out the pipeline highlights.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
amazing.
Yeah, it was epic. If you don't know who Todd Barnes is, he's he's a bit of an editing guru in bodyboarding. He put out, some of my favorite bodyboarding films. So Video, Trash, Thrash, and Thrashed. Yeah. As well as Killer Days, and he also works with the IBA a while back as they're kind of doing their highlight clips and whatnot. Mike Stewart got him on board for the pipeline comp, and I guess that's where he probably decided to put the money instead of the webcast. And again, did it pay off? Well, I think it did. I think it was amazing clip.
Stats on our stats on our site definitely show that it paid off. So, you go back to that webcast versus saying we got $5,000 to do a tiny webcast or put together an epic thing with Todd Barnes. I think it worked out. So
there was also a big crew involved with the filming of it. I'm not too sure if that's what they have usually for APB, but they had filmers at all angles. They had the drone, they had the water footage, had everything, all bases covered there. And then Todd was just basically working all day, picking out the best clips, and then working all through the night till about midnight or 1 a.m. in Hawaiian time to get that clip out. It was pretty amazing effort what he did within that time to put out something like that high quality. I think a lot of filmers and editors takes them weeks and months to get something like that.
Yeah, to put them out pretty much overnight is a massive effort. Anyone who's done clips or filmed and knows how big an effort that is, So, well done to those guys.
Yeah, definitely worth watching. It's on our website if you have not seen it already. It shows just all the best ways. It's all the best ones that I saw during those 2 days of competition was definitely there. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah. A couple of guys are asking on the comments, is there going to be a webcast for Chopes? Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
That's confirmed.
That's confirmed. Webcast. It's going to be hosted by Manny Vargas and Eric Apple, who's a bodyboarder / UFC fighter, and it should be interesting. It should be good. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Alright, any other clips?
Any other clips?
You guys got any other clips that you think are amazing? Just link them in the comments, and probably, they're going to be decent. Just not yourself doing a Rolo 2 foot down your local beachy. Make them something good. Please.
Definitely. Move the slider.
Move the slider. We're going to APB because the funny thing that's happened at the moment is that they've scheduled pretty much the schedules on our the schedule of the APB clashes with Chopu, and they released that pretty much a week apart. So there's a little bit of a problem with the D-Bar Pro happening the same waiting period as Chopes.
Yeah.
But APB Tour this year, winner from last year was Stoney.
Yeah.
Broke his leg. Doing crazy bounce.
Crazy stuff.
At a trampoline park. So Stoney has actually been on a comeback trail and he wants to compete in Chopu. Now, you've heard that first here. So he's aiming to be at Chopes surfing after snapping his leg literally in half, bone out the skin.
Tibula and fibula.
Yeah, both. Yeah. So that was horrendous. And we saw him at the Holding On Prem actually, which we should do a shout out for. Holding On Prem's amazing. If you get a chance to see the movie, go see it. But Jake Stone was at the Prem, and let's just say he was hobbling at best. So for him to surf Chopes is going to be a massive effort. I back him in to do it. The guy's a relentless trainer. He's on the program to get his leg right. So
yeah,
could he A, surf Chopes, and B, back up his go 3P for the ABA Tour?
I would never put anything past Stoney. I think he can do it. Definitely keep your eyes out on Riptide next week as well. We're actually going to have a bit of a chat with Stoney and kind of have a look at his recovery process. But even from having talks with him, he's super confident, he's super positive, he's got his mind set on it. As soon as he had that injury, he said, I'll be back walking and in the water in a month.
So that's nuts.
Yeah. It's been 2 months, but 2 months after you breaking your leg like that is phenomenal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll back him in to be back though.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for Stoney. Other dates for the APB Tour to keep an eye on: D-Bar Pro, April 15th to 17th. Mystics Pro, presented by Sun Zappa, May 6th to 9th. Sorry, Inverted D-Bar Pro, presented by Inverted Bodyboarding. Mystics Pro, presented by Sun Zappa, May 6th to 9th. Knights Beach Pro, presented by the Alexandrina Council, May 27th to 29th. And the Bodyboard King, Northern Beaches Pro, from June 17th to 19th. So they're the dates, and not to forget also the ABA specialty event, which is the Jeff Wilcox, which is a massive event every year, you know, 200 competitors. Forster Tuncurry from the 29th to the 31st of July.
Yeah.
So they're the dates. Lock them in. It's going to be a big showdown. You got guys like Joe Clark and Cramsey and Stoney all going at it, and hopefully a few of the other boys.
Yeah, could be a few internationals kind of making the trek over, you know,
yeah,
later in the year.
Tanner's coming back, which will be awesome. So Tanner McDaniel will be here for a couple of rounds, and yeah, some of the other internationals you said.
Yeah,
Amore may be around.
Yeah, Moz may be around. It's just because, you know, during the Aussie winter, everyone kind of makes a trek out here.
Yeah.
And if there's some comps going on, especially Mystics, you know, I mean, Mystics is a little bit earlier this time around, but such a fun wave, and I think everyone's usually pretty keen to get on that spot.
And one thing we do have to touch on is WA isn't happening this year. Everyone was up in arms about it. It basically boiled down to an impasse between Surfing WA and the ABA. They're working on a solution for next year to be back bigger and better, with the full support of Surfing Australia and Surfing WA, which will make a massive difference to everybody involved in the sport in Australia. So we're really trying to push that, and hopefully those guys can get it sorted, and we'd love to see a WA event back.
Yeah, it does suck that they don't have that wave there, because that is just an amazing bodyboarding wave, and you know, the past couple of years that it's been on there, it's been one of the highlight rounds for every rider, and then, you know, footage wise, they have kind of replaced that with the Northern Beaches Pro, which is going to be interesting. I'm not even too sure where it's going to be. I'm thinking like Manly or something like that.
Yeah, wherever it's pumping. It's a roaming event, so could be, you know, along that whole stretch. Northern Beaches Pro. So
yeah, well, that could be interesting.
I'm excited for that event. That's going to be a good event.
Yeah, I mean, when Narrabene's on, it's a good wave.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of late entrants. Any news on the Shark Island Challenge for Duncan Harris? Yes, mate. It's on, but not on. It's confirmed that it could go. It could go.
The Shark Island Challenge is a fickle beast. I guess Shark Island is a fickle wave, and you've got to get the right tides and the right swell.
Yeah.
They're looking towards Thursday next week. It looks like the tides are going to be perfect, and the swell is, you know, if it comes through, it's going to be a pumping easterly swell, ground swell, like 12-second period, and the winds look pretty good for it. So
that'll be good.
If that goes on, it'll be epic.
Can I have a shout out to Alyssa Ryan? Yes, you can.
Hi, Alyssa Ryan.
Hi, Alyssa Ryan. What else have we got? Chopes. Should have been a webcast. Yes. No, Hawaii should have definitely been a webcast. We kind of disagree on that one. Well, look, boys, we're at the end. Thank you for joining us for our first episode. We are going to do some shout-outs.
Yeah, I just want to do a quick shout-out to our good friend over in Ireland, Seamus Shambles McGoldrick.
Hey, Shambles!
Hey, Shambles. Get well soon, mate. We just heard, well, we've actually reported on our website, Shambles was charging at Riley's, his local reef there, heavy reef break.
Yeah.
Took a 6-foot wave and came up second best on that one. And
broken femur, which is heavy. That's broken, let's snap leg. It's massive. So shout out to him.
Broken femur, staples of the head. He also had to get airlifted. From that from Riley's.
That's heavy. So get better soon.
Those guys are crazy in Ireland.
Other injury updates quickly. Elliot Butler,
he went surfing out the Superbank during Tropical Cyclone Winston and got driven into the sandbank and broke his neck. So
Elliot, get better soon, buddy.
Get well soon, man, because that is crazy.
And then also, we can't forget Andre Botha. So shout out to him because he had an amazing Hawaii. Was involved, obviously, everyone saw the incident where he was involved quite heavily with the rescue of Evan, which was amazing. And also he's been charging absolutely crazy the whole Hawaiian season, and unfortunately, yep, he broke his back. Broke his neck.
broke his lower back.
Charging wire, mate.
Yeah, it sucks. He was gutted that he missed out on the comp. I got to chat to him a bit during my stay there in North Shore, and but you know, he's such a positive guy. He's such a legend. He always sees the bright side of it, and he's just like, it is what it is. You know, there'll be another Plab comp, and he just said like he's had a fantastic winter season. He has. It's been, you would have seen it from his clip that came up pretty recently, which we, you know, again, that's a highlight clip from a few weeks back.
Check out Dre's highlight clip. It's insane.
But I believe he's going to be back in the water pretty soon now. So awesome. Should be good.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. If we missed anything, we're sorry. We'll be back pretty soon with another one. We'll let you know when. And we hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you get out in the water, keep bodyboarding, and we'll see you guys soon. Now, this is going to be weird because somehow we've got to stop this.
Yeah.
Unless there's someone around who can push the button for us.
Yeah, someone who
stop
could do
it.
that, possibly.
Because just push the stop button. You'll see it. Just cancel. No. Just
finish.
Just bye.
Is that what you do?
Bye. Just push the middle one. There's a middle one. Come on.